Today's show is all about the hospital heroes who do all they can to save the lives of dogs in need of urgent medical care.
So we're almost there.
Coming up,
They're bleeding, I know that much.
there's a race to rescue a husky badly injured in a fight.
It's touch and go at the moment. I mean, the fact he's deteriorating is not a good sign.
Ziggy the Staffy thanks the vet team who saved his life.
We were the first faces he saw after what had happened to him, so we seem to have got a bit of a bond.
And we tell little Molly's incredible story.
I'm not going to be able to put my scope in there without causing her to scream and throw her head around.
Every year, the RSPCA's cruelty hotline takes well over 1 million calls.
Good afternoon, RSPCA. How can I help?
And it's from the National Control Centre in South Yorkshire that the inspectors are sent cases to investigate all over England and Wales. In 2014, Inspector Annie Simmons was called to assist a colleague at an address in North London.
She's received a call saying that 3 dogs have been heard fighting. We believe them to be 2 huskies and a bull breed.
When a call comes into the RSPCA, they are prioritised in order of seriousness. This call is an emergency.
I still apparently the people have 15 for 2 days. They're bleeding, I know that much.
All right, we'll sort it. See you in a bit. When there's more than one dog, pack mentality kind of kicks in. They can cause some real injury to each other and sometimes kill each other.
Attendant lane.
And it's not just the dogs' lives that are in danger. Every time an inspector goes into a heated situation like this, the risks to them are huge. Things look serious. There's no owner in sight, and it's not just the RSPCA that have been called out.
I'm going to get out and have a chat with the police.
The police have to secure the area before Annie's allowed anywhere near the fighting dogs.
Stay there, yeah.
OK, is this about dogs?
Yes.
OK.
The police think one of the dogs could well be a pit bull, a breed that's outlawed in this country.
We're still trying to secure the pit bull.
With no owner to intervene, the police could be forced to use extreme measures.
Pit bull's got one of the huskies by the throat and has been throwing it around. It's bleeding quite heavily.
OK.
And we've got a firearms unit in there and dog handlers.
Okay.
Dog handlers are trying to secure the dog safely and humanely, the pit bull initially. But the other added danger we've got is that we're assuming the husky's brother or sister is there as well. So we've got another husky that's unharmed and uninjured.
Right.
So the dog handlers have got to secure both dogs.
OK.
And we've got to try and rescue the injured dog.
OK,
So
no
that's
problems.
where we're at the moment.
It's a tense wait until the police have the situation under control. The police have managed to capture what they think is a pit bull.
Out in the back garden, yeah?
He hasn't come out unscathed.
Do you want us to come in, yeah?
But for the badly injured dog, Oslo, it could already be too late. He's covered in blood, and with such thick fur, it's difficult to tell quite how bad the injuries are.
Do you want me to go and bring the van up here?
Yeah.
The location of the other one. You need a handle.
Yeah, I think we have to go closer with this.
Oslo is too weak to make it to the cage on his own.
There you go, mate.
He's in shock. This might not sound serious, but sometimes shock can kill. While searching the house, Annie discovers another dog, a female husky. It's possible the 2 dogs could have been fighting over her. She's unharmed, but she looks very shaken up by the whole experience.
We're going to go to the hospital with the injured one and also with the pit bull because he's got some puncture wounds to his face. Get some pictures and then maybe try and establish what's going on, really. You all right? Yep.
So with Oslo, the injured dog, loaded up, it's a race against time to get him to hospital.
It's awful. I mean, if you've ever witnessed a dog fight, it's horrible. It's the noise. And I think those, the dog handlers and the police who arrived first on scene felt quite helpless because they were watching it over the fence, and obviously they weren't going to endanger themselves by getting in the garden, so had to do their best whilst waiting for armed officers.
They may have arrived at Harmsworth Animal Hospital in North London, but there's a problem. Oslo, the badly injured husky, has taken a turn for the worse.
It doesn't look very good at all.
Annie, I'm going to get a trolley. It looks really bad.
She looks bad? Hello, Angel. The condition seems to have deteriorated since we left. Now kind of lying down. Doesn't look very happy.
Poor Oslo is very badly injured. He may have been rescued, but were the team already too late? Find out later if he can pull through. Oslo the husky was rescued after being in a fight with another dog.
The condition seems to have deteriorated since we left.
The dogs fought for over 15 minutes, and Oslo could well have sustained a fatal injury. So now it's up to the team at the hospital to do all they can to save him.
His pupils just completely not reacting.
Oslo is really struggling to stay with us.
He's going into shock at the moment, so we need to support his circulation primarily.
So vet David Mills has to act quickly.
He needs a high rate of fluids very quickly. He's going into shock at the moment, so his body's circulatory system starting to shut down.
Oslo is in the best place he could be right now, but at the moment, things are still looking very grave for him.
It's touch and go at the moment. I mean, the fact he's deteriorating is not a good sign. We'll know more once he's had some fluids for 20 minutes. They can suffer problems with organ damage due to not enough blood flow. There's different types of shock in dogs, but the main one I'm worried about in this guy is whether he's losing any blood anywhere. So we're just going to scan his abdomen now just to make sure there's no blood loss there.
Oslo still isn't perking up. This could be a sign that his injuries aren't just skin deep. Using ultrasound, David is able to see if there is any sign of internal bleeding.
The problem is with dogs like this is they have quite thick fur, so there can be little cuts and all over the place which you can't see.
Things already look bleak for Oslo. More injuries could spell tragedy.
It is quite early on, so sometimes if they're very small pockets, then it wouldn't necessarily show at this stage, but just making sure there's no catastrophic bleeds. And what we'll also do is a quick x-ray of the chest as well.
Until Oslo shows any signs of improvement, he will have to be monitored constantly. Now he needs to give Oslo an x-ray.
Seeing here is the dog's head is up at this end, and then the heart is in the middle. We're looking at the lungs around here, which look normal at this stage. With the way that we've taken the x-ray, we also get a shot of the abdomen as well, and so we can see that there's no fluid collected in the abdomen either, which we saw on the ultrasound anyway, but it's nice just to have confirmation as well in the x-ray. Because the dog's only been here for sort of half an hour, so things can develop and these situations can change quickly, so we may need a repeat x-ray later on if things don't settle down as we'd like.
For now, Oslo is stable, but at any moment he could take a turn for the worse.
Whilst he's nice and settled, and we're happy that he's got fluids and he's got some morphine in his system, so he's quite sleepy now. We're just doing a secondary assessment now of his wounds.
But his injuries are extensive and severe, and with vital organs just centimetres beneath the surface of the skin, bites can sometimes kill.
The main pad on his back right leg has become detached. I think it's been bitten through, so he's sustained quite a lot of damage to that, which we'll probably need to take it off, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. But it's very sore. The pads are very sensitive in dogs, so it'd be very stingy indeed to have that.
And the other dog has managed to bite right into the front of his paw too. Whilst David looks at each injury, the evidence is documented. So if it's found the owners are at fault, they can be prosecuted.
Can you just put photo 1 right hind, otherwise I'm going to get my legs mixed up when we do these.
Left hind.
It's me eye, David.
These wounds will take a long time to heal, but David is doing everything he can to make Oslo as comfortable as possible.
He's on some pain relief within his drip bag now, which will keep him comfortable overnight. And the outlook looks good for him. Mostly it looks like puncture wounds. A couple of deep wounds on his back feet, which are soft tissue wounds, so they should heal fine. And the plan for him would be to keep him stable overnight and then sedate him tomorrow to flush out his wounds and assess the damage. But if that's all he's left with after that sort of attack, he's done very, very well.
So whilst Oslo is left to recover from his ordeal, now the team need to investigate why the owner left 3 dogs alone to fight in the first place.
What we're looking at is whether he took reasonable steps to protect those animals from pain, injury. Just because at the end of the day, something serious has happened. A dog could have died. We're just lucky that the police responded when they did. Everyone worked really well together and acted quickly, so I think any longer it could have been a very different story, really.
We'll be checking in on Oslo's progress later in the show. In 2016, Inspector Hershey Bow was faced with a cruel and unusual case in the West Midlands that had a big impact on her.
You do become quite passionate about certain cases that you deal with. There's always those that stand out. For me, this case and this dog are really important. A vet's practice rang at our control centre saying that an owner had come in with his dog. The dog had been tied to a chain by a carabiner. This carabiner had been inserted into this dog's neck, like a safety pin, so to speak.
Rex appeared to have been deliberately tethered with a carabiner.
Rex was 6 months old at the time. He was very frightened. You know, it was a horrific injury. Every time the dog moved, you know, the carabiner would swivel around. So every single movement that dog made would have been painful. Because the carabiner is a metal object and it would have been dirty, the wound had become infected, pus was coming out, and you know, you could sort of smell that. It's absolutely barbaric, in my opinion.
Getting the carabiner out from under Rex's skin was an exceptionally difficult job for the veterinary surgeons.
It was so embedded into the neck, they had to do an emergency operation to cut this carabiner off with a hacksaw. So it was a horrific injury, you know, really, I was really shocked.
Rex's owner was banned from keeping animals for 10 years and given an 18-month community order. After receiving the right care and attention, young Rex bounced back to health. And the Best in Show team have caught up with him in his new forever home with owner Scott Dudley. And he's grown, just a little bit.
Well, we've had Rex now for nearly 2 years. It's going very well. So Rex has been settled in really good.
Well, he certainly looks very at home.
As soon as we seen him, knew what he'd been through, we said that's one for us. And from that day, every time we went back up there again to meet him, he's the first one to us amongst all the dogs. We took him and never looked back.
It was love at first sight.
Very, very happy, wasn't you? Come on in, Rex. In, come on, in. 4.
There is no lasting damage from the cruel method of tethering he suffered as a puppy.
The surgeon's done a brilliant job on Rex. If you'd have seen him to start off with, he was in that much pain and discomfort, and now you wouldn't even know that he's had anything through his neck at all. It's completely healed up. He's healed up both mentally and physically. The surgeon's been absolutely wonderful. He's a very affectionate dog. Always wants to play. Rex loves playing with the rope. He loves running in the garden, running in the park. That's a good boy. If he goes out for a walk, he'll pull you back. He knows exactly where the house is. Doesn't matter where you go, he'll pull you back straight to the house. He wants to get back onto a settee.
Clearly very happy with his life of leisure, Rex now has the loving home he deserves.
The bond between Rex and us now is absolutely brilliant. You know, it's just part of the family, you know. As soon as you come back, he's there waiting for you. He's a brilliant companion. You know, you couldn't be without him, wouldn't be without him. And just a lovely soulmate.
Another case Inspector Hershey Bow received in 2016 was a report from a member of the public that was to test the skills of the surgeons.
Just had a call regarding 5 dogs at a property. One of them is said to be very overweight, and the other one, it says it has no fur at all. So clearly dealing with someone with sort of, you know, possibly 5 dogs and having a few issues with some. From the RSPCA, I've had a call about, apparently there's 5 dogs here, and there's a couple that somebody's rang us about, saying one's very overweight and the other one has a problem with its fur.
The owner tells Hershey that the dog is going to the vet's next week, but she lets her come in.
Is that okay? Are they friendly?
Inside, 4 of the dogs aren't a major cause for concern.
That one's fine, that one's fine.
But when she sees white terrier Molly, Hershey knows there's a big problem.
OK, this is the dog I am concerned about, I'll be honest with you. Her fur loss is quite extensive.
The owner says she took Molly to the vets and the skin has only recently got worse, but Hershey is dubious.
Because of the condition that she's in, I don't believe that's only happened in the last couple of days. I'm going to caution you. She's got a very severe skin problem. And I'm not doing my job if I don't take her to a vet's right now. I know you're really upset, and I know this is really, really difficult, but that dog is in a really poor condition now.
The owner doesn't want to sign Molly over, but agrees that Hershey can take her to a vet.
Molly has got what I would class as quite a severe skin problem. She's scratching all the time. This dog, I do believe, is suffering. And if I think it's suffering, I don't have an option, really.
She needs urgent medical attention.
Come on, then. Hi, Jack.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm
You're
good.
right.
Yep.
Good.
So this is Molly.
Okay.
Scratching all the time at the property. She was severe enough that I was concerned that she really needed to see a vet today.
Obviously, she's itchy. You can see that her skin is on fire when I touch it. The areas that seem to be predominantly affected are down her legs, around her bottom, and you can see on the front here where she's starting to scab over a little bit, where her skin started to become infected.
Yeah.
Her back end is very sore. But
Yeah. All that fur loss, that's just from scratching it. Yeah.
The state of Molly's ears is so bad, it's hard for Jack to examine them.
The problem with her ears is that her ear canals are so closed that you can't
see anything.
I'm not going to be able to put my scope in there without causing her to scream and throw her head around because, and realistically, I'm not sure how far I'm going to get.
But it would be painful for her.
Yeah, oh yeah, she would scream. If I put anything further down here, then she would scream, but...
Oh, darling, yeah, that's not nice.
So a full ear exam will have to wait a few days. Seems dear little Molly is definitely in pain.
Would you expect a reasonable owner to have taken that dog to the vets by now?
Yes. But I think given everything, the situation with her skin and her ears, then it probably was the right thing to take her away. You don't get this degree of hair loss overnight, even if she was scratching non-stop for 24 hours.
Jack will need to run some skin scrape tests to find out what's causing her to scratch, but he has some idea what it might be.
Especially in white dogs, unfortunately, they tend to have a lot of problems with allergies.
Yeah.
I suspect this is an allergic dog, given her ears are quite badly affected and her feet are quite badly affected. I mean, we can make her feel better quite quickly with medications now.
Great.
But long term, it's not going to be so easy. Tonight, I'd like to keep Molly in the hospital. I want to do the skin scrapes we talked about.
Yeah.
I want to make sure there are no mites or fleas on her. And with her skin the way it is now, her hair will grow back, but whether it will be as thick and as full as before is difficult to say, and only time will tell from that point of view.
So Hershey leaves Molly in the capable hands of vet Jack and assistant Louise.
Okay, thank you. Makes me feel a bit happier that she's going to be comfortable tonight, you know, and not itching so much. They can make her quite comfortable quite quickly. You know, we're just giving her some medication and that's all that she needs, really.
In the meantime, Hershey will be following up with the owner.
I'll speak to the owner now, today, let her know what's happened, that the vet has said that the dog is suffering, and then I'll look to interview her next week, and then we'll see where we go from there. The most important thing is, at this stage, that Molly is comfortable and she's getting the treatment that she needs.
The medical team spent the next few weeks working on Molly, and 2 months later, Hershey popped back to see her.
Molly!
Is that really Molly? She looks fantastic.
Come here, Molly. Come here, Molly.
Tests show that, as is common in white dogs, Molly is prone to allergies and needs regular medication. And Hershey is thrilled at the transformation.
The change in her is absolutely remarkable. There were patches of fur loss all over her, and her ears were really, really sore. Everything has settled down so much. She looks like a completely different dog. I'm absolutely overjoyed. Molly, sit. Good girl, Paul. Oh, good girl.
Molly's constant itching is a thing of the past.
All she was focused on before was scratching. You know, now there's other things on her mind, like food, really, and rolling around in the sun. Does that feel good? Oh. I'm actually really shocked. The change in her has been absolutely dramatic. Medication's working brilliantly, and that's a real relief. It's just worked wonders.
Molly's owner has now signed her over and received an RSPCA formal caution.
She's such a little superstar. Happy little dog.
Unfortunately, during Molly's treatment, it was discovered her health problems were much more than just skin deep. So we'll be catching up with this brave little dog later. And we find out what made a very experienced vet say this.
I've been a vet for, going on for 11 years now, and that's including being a vet in the military. I've never seen anything that comes anywhere close to it.
When we last saw Oslo the husky, he was in very bad shape after he'd been fighting with another dog.
His pupils just completely not reacting.
He's going into shock at the moment, so we need to support his circulation.
Oslo's life was hanging in the balance.
The fact he's deteriorating is not a good sign.
But the team's dogged determination paid off, and Oslo's made an incredible recovery. Glad you're okay, old pal. Oslo's previous owners were ordered to pay fines and costs. He's found a new, loving home with dog rescuer Jane Wichillow and husband Peter.
So it's been a great addition to the family. We were after a German Shepherd. Never even thought of a husky at all. But he was just there and feeling sorry for himself, just wanted a fuss and someone to take him home. So that was it. We were hooked. I think it's the eyes. He's gentle, he's good with the young kids and just part of the family.
Today, this family man's in for a real treat because Jane and her husband Peter have brought him along to a celebration of all things husky.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
It's a husky fest. Quite literally, that's what it's actually called.
Good dogs, all the way.
And Oslo's been entered into one of the many competitions. Best rescue dog. And whilst the judge meets the other competitors,
Who's this? Do you want to just have a little run?
Jane has a chance to reflect.
It'd be nice if he won for what he's gone through. I can't believe his story because of how he is now. He was on death's door, you know. They didn't know if he was going to make it. I think the judge was impressed with him, of course. But there are some nice huskies here. We'll wait and see.
Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please.
And in first place,
Oh, could it be? Hold on, that's Peter.
Cheers, thanks.
Nice.
Came first, didn't you, mate?
Yeah.
Came first in your best rescue. Oh, my baby.
And thanks to the vets that saved his life, Oslo really has won against all the odds. In October 2014, another horrific case hit the headlines. Some of the images you are about to see are disturbing. A Staffordshire Bull Terrier called Ziggy was found wandering alone in remote woodland near Peterborough. He was disorientated, hungry and scared. And the two people that found him could hardly believe he was still alive.
They stopped thinking he was just a stray dog on the road until, to their horror, they discovered a crossbow bolt through his head. It's certainly appearing as though it was an attempt to dispose of this dog that has gone wrong. You've got to ask about the mentality of a person who can take a dog into a wood and shoot it.
The 50-centimetre bolt, fired at close range, had gone through one side of his head and out the other.
They took him straight to their vets, who rang me immediately, and I arrived fairly soon after. The shock at seeing such a lovely, friendly dog with this most brutal of weapons through his head, I don't think I'm ever going to get over that.
Ziggy might have seemed happy to see people, but with a brutal injury so close to his brain, no one knew what damage had been caused. Even just removing it could have killed him.
We all held our breath for a collective minute. The vet was gently teasing this arrow out. They'd taken x-rays, they'd taken every precaution imaginable, but at the end of the day they've got a crossbow bolt through a dog's head, and you don't really know what it's going to do.
Incredibly, the operation to remove it was a complete success. Against all the odds, Ziggy's life had been saved.
And I think we all just sat there grinning for another minute or so, thinking this has actually worked and this dog is going to be fine.
It's thought that Ziggy had moved his head just before the crossbow had been fired, and the bolt had missed his brain by a hair's width.
If ever a dog had a guardian angel, Ziggy had one that day.
The culprit was never found. Amazingly, just a week after his operation, Ziggy seems fully recovered. And today he's getting his final checkup at the vets in Peterborough where they saved his life.
we going?
And he certainly seems grateful.
He loves Helen.
You missed us. We were the first faces he saw after what had happened to him, so we seem to have got a bit of a bond. He's a handful, but he's lovely. Here we go again.
Hi, Ziggy. Hello.
All I can say is, I promise he was shot with an arrow last week.
I was going to say, is this the same dog? This isn't the same dog, is it? No, it's not the same dog. Hello. Are you all right just holding on to the collar for me? We'll have a look at the wounds. Let's see what we've got. Crikey, that's healed so quickly. That's absolutely phenomenal. There's literally just a tiny little bit of scabbing on the skin. There's no pain, there's no discomfort there whatsoever. Let's have a look at the side of your face as well. I mean, that looks less than a little scratch you'd get while running around in the park. This is the entry wound where the crossbow bolt went in, and it sort of shot down at that sort of angle going inwards like there, and exited at the wound here. I don't think it'll even leave a scar when it's done. Hey, well done, mate. I think we can quite safely say that's Ziggy back to full health.
Superb.
I've been a vet for, going on for 11 years now, and that's including being a vet in the military, seeing some fairly nasty injuries in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I've never seen anything that comes anywhere close to it. He's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
What a miracle. And it's no surprise that this amazing fella found a new home in no time. He's now settling in with his new owners, Dominic O'Hare and Anna Burton-Wood.
I think one thing that really stuck out to me, the fact that when he was found, his tail was wagging, even though he had obviously the bolt hanging out of his head. And even after all of that trauma, he still was being affectionate to two complete strangers. So I knew straight away that he was an affectionate dog, and he was a real people's dog.
And on his usual walk, there's a little surprise for Ziggy. Justin's paying him a visit to see how he's settling in with his new family.
How you doing, Dominic? All right?
Justin. You all right?
Oh, he's looking great. He's looking dirty.
Yeah, he likes a good roll in the mud.
Has he had any issues with you?
He can be a little bit iffy with other dogs, but again, I think it's just training over time. That should come out. So, no, but apart from that, he's been as good as gold. He's been really, really good.
Oh, he's landed on his feet.
Yeah.
And Justin couldn't be happy with how things have turned out.
I've got to say, Ziggy's looking absolutely fantastic. His behaviour is almost impeccable. I would have thought any dog going through that kind of trauma, being dragged out into the middle of nowhere and shot and dumped, you're expecting some sort of distrust of people, but as you can see, he's brilliant with everybody. This dog is happy and healthy and absolutely thriving on life.
It's been a rollercoaster few months for Ziggy. He's dodged death, survived life-threatening surgery, and found a new loving home. What an incredible dog. Here's to you, Ziggy. Earlier on, we met Molly, an itchy terrier, rescued by Inspector Hershey Bow.
Molly has got what I would class as quite a severe skin problem. Come here, darling. She's scratching all the time.
Vet Jack discovered the cause of her irritation.
White dogs, unfortunately, they tend to have a lot of problems with allergies.
Yeah.
I suspect this is an allergic dog.
With regular medication for her allergies,
Molly!
The agitated 5-year-old was absolutely transformed.
She looks like a completely different dog.
Unfortunately, 8 months on, and Molly was still at the Coventry Animal Centre, where Ross McAlpine was one of the team looking after her.
Molly, come on. She's been brilliant for it all. She's so happy-go-lucky and loves life and sort of loves being around people, and she's just such a character here and loved by all, from staff to volunteers.
Her allergies may be under control, but Molly's health problems aren't over yet. A serious issue was discovered when she went to the vet to be spayed.
They put her under the anaesthetic, and it was there the vets thought that there's an issue with the heart and referred us to some specialists. She had a major heart block, and she would need a pacemaker.
A pacemaker isn't cheap, so £2,500 had to be raised for Molly to have the op, and the donations flooded in. And guess what? She's having her heart fixed on Valentine's Day.
That's a sweet teddy bear. You're a good girl.
Don't worry, Molly, you're in the safe hands of surgeon Chris Linney.
So we're just popping the ECG on for her here, just so I can assess her rhythm during the scan itself.
A scan shows her heart isn't quite doing what it should.
At the moment, Molly's heart rate's around about 45 beats per minute, and this is her ECG just running here at the bottom. So this is quite slow. We expect her rhythm to be around about 120 to 140, and this is sort of the problem that she has, this very slow heart rate. Without the surgery, there's a chance that, you know, she may not make it through this year, so we need to sort of get that pacemaker in as soon as we can, really, for her.
Molly's condition is rare. Chris treats less than 1 in 200 doggy patients with a slow heart rate. A pacemaker will produce the electrical impulses that prompt her heart to beat at a normal rate.
What we'll be doing for Molly is actually placing a pacemaker lead. So the lead will travel through the heart and sit down here at the tip of the heart, down here. The bottom of the lead has little fish hooks, so it effectively acts like an anchor and anchors the whole system into place.
The lead is connected to a special battery that will be implanted under Molly's skin.
It's a battery that has about a 10-year battery life on it. And what the lead does is it actually connects the battery to the heart, so it's sort of the intermediary between the two. And it's the pacemaker lead that serves the function of making the heart beat.
Comfy?
Yeah, that's great.
It's the same procedure as for us humans, and it's a delicate one for a little dog. But it's Molly's only chance for survival.
So we're just making a little incision over her neck through the jugular vein, and this is where the pacemaker lead will go through into the heart. So it sort of takes a little bit of a long route to get there, but it's sort of the safest way to get to it. If there's any trauma to the jugular vein, you can have quite a lot of bleeding, so we have to be quite careful about what we do here. So we're almost there. What we'll do with this now is we'll get it ready for us to put our pacemaker lead down here. Thank you.
But as the lead is threaded down the vein, there's a problem.
Just won't go very far than that. So we're just trying to get into the heart, and this lead really just doesn't want to go where we want it to go. It's coming out the other side of the jugular. Okay. So I've got a little hole problem.
Okay.
It's going straight through. Perforated, okay. Going through one in, one out the other at the moment. There's something slightly different about Molly's anatomy on this side, which is a complication that we rarely see. But we're going to go for the other side now for Molly. So we're actually going to turn her over and actually restart the procedure with her on her other side so we can get access to the other side of her jugular.
So Molly's op is going to take a bit longer than planned. Chris needs to close her up on this side before he can start on the other.
So we always have a backup plan.
But if he has the same problem, it could mean a more drastic procedure.
The next way to do it is to sort of physically open up the chest and attach a lead straight to the heart. So it's a bit more invasive, and it's very rare that we do that, but it's an option if we do find that we're struggling to get this pacemaker in for Molly.
Hopefully it won't come to that. We'll be back after the break.
There's something slightly different about Molly's anatomy on this side. We have to be quite careful about what we do here.
Legs over?
Yep, legs over.
Ready?
Yep.
Diane, you lead.
Yep.
At a crucial moment in Molly's pacemaker operation, her jugular vein is causing a problem for surgeon Chris Linney.
What's happening on the left is that the pacemaker lead was going in quite a nice distance, but then getting stuck, so almost like into a blind engine alley. And we really need that communication straight into the heart, otherwise the lead's just not going to get where we need it to.
He's having to use the vein on the right side of Molly's neck instead.
There's a potential for the same complication if she's got some weird, unusual plumbing to her heart, but hopefully this side will be straightforward for her. Okay.
Well, here goes. Fingers crossed.
Just make a little stab incision. So we're just about to put the lead in. This side should be a little bit more straightforward for poor old Molly now. So this is the lead going in to the heart. The lead's going where we want it to go. Just about okay. So I'm just about to sort of just make sure the lead's in the right place, and we're going to test the lead properly. That's fine. Just going to put some tension on there for her. Perfect.
Phew, that was tense. The lead is finally in, but is it working?
Okay, yeah, let's do it there. So if you're ready to go on, Katie, in a second. Jodie, if you're ready to go off.
Off.
And on.
It's the moment of truth.
She's just settled into that new rhythm there now. So we're happy. Perfect. And this is where this lead is going to stay. That's it. That's great. Perfect.
Thankfully, Molly's life-saving op is back on track.
Got the pacemaker lead in the heart. We're now going to attach it to the battery.
The 10-year battery is implanted just under the skin of Molly's neck.
Almost done now. So we're just about to start closing up the skin for her. It would have been very nice if her anatomy had been straightforward, but you can't have everything.
Molly's op looks like a success, but an X-ray will give the team confirmation.
Okay, that's great. If we can get all behind the LED screen. And what we can see is the pacemaker battery just sat up here on her neck, and then this is the pacemaker lead that's just running through into her heart. She's got a lovely, regular heartbeat that's at about 60 to 80 beats a minute at the moment, so much faster than it was before. And this is going to make such a big difference for Molly, so I'm really pleased with this, really great.
So Molly's broken heart has been mended, but she'll need to spend a couple of nights in the hospital to make sure the pacemaker continues to do its vital work.
Come on, Molly.
What a way to spend Valentine's Day, hey Molly? Two days after surgery, and look who's up and about. And looking very sprightly too, but how's her heart managing?
Hi, how are you? Should we check your pacemaker and see how it's working?
Molly seems completely unfazed by her life-saving procedure.
And we can see already that she's become very reliant on the pacemaker. It's the only thing that's making her heart beat now. Without the pacemaker, she would have died of having too slow a heart rate for her to continue living a day-to-day life. So her heart rate before the surgery was 45 beats in a minute. Typically for a dog like Molly, heart rates when they're exercising should be around about 120 to 140 plus. Now with the pacemaker, she can have heart rates of up to 160, which will give her a complete range of ability to exercise as normal. And we'd expect her to live a long and happy life.
What a heartwarming result for Molly. And there was another heartwarming result for Molly. Her foster carer, Amanda Hull, fell in love with her, and she now lives with her in her forever home.